At Aviva Stadium, kick-off 7:45. Get your tickets now at fai.ie/tickets. Booking fee applies.
Bring the day. Bring the new home.
Congratulations, the house is yours.
Bring new life. Bring new beginnings.
Enjoy college. Call us.
Bring the new year. Whatever change life brings, embrace it with a new Volkswagen. Discover unmissable offers and low-rate finance across the Volkswagen range. Search Volkswagen 201 and bring the change. Terms and conditions apply.
You ain't shit! I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Well, fans can be the harshest critics, you know.
And they often are.
A wife is often the harshest critic of her husband.
I thought I was invincible. That's what you're trained to believe as a sports person.
There was 4 million people in Ireland who knew much more about managing football teams than I did. When it comes to music, I can spoof with the best.
Your sporting career is the best time you'll have, and you know you have to hang on to it for as long as you like, because everything else is pretty crappy.
And this is not lies. Stephen Rothschild has never spoken to Jim McGuinness in his life.
All right, you're very welcome along to this week's Saturday panel. This week, it's all about motorsport, because this week's Saturday panel is brought to you in association with the Motorsport Show, which is taking place at the RDS on the 23rd and 24th of November. You can get your tickets for that now from themotorshow.com. Joining me this afternoon to talk, I suppose, a little bit about maybe the Motorsport Show and about your own careers in motorsport as well, across various degrees of it. We have two rallying co-drivers with me today, Elaine and Sarah McFadden as well, and we also have Kenny Kirwan, who's the team manager of Arden Motorsport. I suppose, guys, just as a way of introduction, you might just tell me a little bit about yourselves, your kind of background in the sport and how you got to where you are now. We'll start with you, Elaine.
I suppose I was always interested in motorsport when I was young, and the rally used to pass, I suppose, the house behind in West Kerry, in West Dingle there in the Gaeltacht. And I suppose my interest in motorsport, I got to know people, and I suppose I would mind giving this a crack, I suppose, and I got a seat there, I suppose, in 2010, and I've been at it since. Is it something in the family, or was it just something that you were kind of a bit fascinated by, watching the cars go up and down the road? Big GA family. I'm afraid football, so I played football for many years, I suppose, but I retired at a young age, I suppose, and I had to take up another sport, I suppose, being the competitive side, you know, streak, I suppose, and us behind. And you have that in you, do you? The competitive edge? Yeah, small. How long have you been at the rallying then? I suppose 9 years now, I suppose, yeah. And Sarah, your own story, you have a fascinating story that we'll probably get into a bit more as well, but I suppose the short background on yourself and how you got involved? I suppose Mum and Dad have always been involved in it as long. They bought their first rally car the year I was born, so I basically grew up in service parks, and I was at my first rally at 6 weeks old, so I suppose rallying was always a part of the family and a part of the life, so I suppose I was always going to want to get involved in it some way, and I always wanted to be a rally driver like Mum and Dad, but when I was 12 I found out I'd never be allowed to get a driver's licence, which is a huge blow, but it didn't take me too long to realise it might mean I can't get a navigator's licence. So I suppose I went from there. And that is kind of where the story starts for you, really, that you aren't able to get a driver's licence. Can you tell us a little bit about why that is? Yeah, so I was born with albinism and nystagmus, which left me visually impaired since birth, so I'll never be allowed to drive a car. So I suppose navigating is the next best thing for me. And how have you found it? Like, I mean, in terms of the difficulties you'd encounter doing it, is the preparation you'd be doing for navigation, would it be different to what Elaine would be doing? Yeah, I do a small bit more. I'd make a few more adjustments to the pace notes and make them to the way I like, that I can see them. But it's like any co-driver makes them to the way they want them to be. So I'm kind of lucky in that way that I have the ability to do that. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well in a few minutes. Kenny, though, Kenny Kirwan, team manager of team manager at Arden Motorsport. What's your background? How did you get to where you are? And can you tell us a bit about Arden Motorsport? Yeah, so a bit like Elaine, it kind of wasn't really in the family. And a trip to Mondello Park when I was, I think, 10 or 11, changed everything. And my first race was the Phoenix Park, just helping out, washing cars, Formula Ford, and quickly developed into wanting to do it. Went to DIT in Bolton Street just to learn more about cars and how they worked, and finally moved to the UK. Did 7 or 8 years there, moved to America, and finally moved back, and started basically as a chief mechanic for Arden Motorsport, which is a team that is owned by Christian and Gary Horner. So Christian is the
the team principal of Red Bull Racing in the UK, and so it's a family team, and I'm essentially doing the job he did a number of years ago before he started at Red Bull. So that's basically where it's all sort of started for me, mechanicking and moving up chief mechanic into management.
And what's kind of the day-to-day job there? What would that entail?
Okay, so day-to-day you've got, with a team, we have 16 people on a team, so it's smaller than F1. F1 will have 80 people operationally and about 1,100 at the factory. We've got 13 at an event plus about 5 at the factory, so it's smaller numbers. And it's everything from coordinating, getting the team there, just finding the drivers, because the drivers, they basically pay us to race. So you've got to negotiate with drivers, their parents, their managers, finding sponsors, things like this. So getting the team from its concept to on the circuit is one of the bigger tasks.
And Sarah, as Kenny was kind of explaining the size of the operation some of these companies have, I saw you glancing over at Elaine and kind of just lifting your eyebrows in a kind of this is different gravy altogether. I imagine in like the Irish rallying scene, it is a much smaller circuit. It's, you know, the teams themselves, there's probably a lot of families involved, small operations. Doing things yourself, I imagine?
Yeah, we're one big family and everyone kind of helps out each other, but I suppose we'd all only have maybe 3-4 people there for the weekend.
Late nights in the garage as well, like, I suppose, yeah.
Weekdays, weekends.
Yeah.
And then aside from like the actual navigation on it, as you were saying there, like late nights in the garage and stuff, were you kind of involved in actually physically preparing the cars as well each weekend when you're going out?
No, I'm not. No, I've gone, I'm not doing that part at all now. I just arrive and do my navigating job. That's it.
So what's it like doing I suppose, for when you're getting into it initially? Because I think we had one of our presenters, Owen Sheehan, last year. I think he went around and did a laps of, I think it might have been Mondello Park or something, in the car with, I think it might have been Craig Breen. And the video of watching him doing that, it was like, you know, a rabbit in the headlights, just kind of sitting back going, oh my God, what is happening here? When you're in doing that for the very first time and the responsibility's on you, what's that feeling like? Is it a bit daunting?
I suppose I didn't find it a bit daunting. I suppose you'd be a bit apprehensive or nervous, but that's kind of, you know, that's, I suppose, part of it. But I suppose that you get a buzz and you get a satisfaction of, I suppose, how quick you can go, and I suppose you're motivated then to succeed and do better each time, I suppose, and, you know, be more competitive, of course.
And when you do have a good ride and you know things go well, and you hit all your times and stuff, that adrenaline rush, I imagine, is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it is, of course. And then you improve your times. We'll say during a rally like that, you improve your times during the day, yeah.
And do you feel a lot of pressure then, guys? Like, you're sitting there, you're telling the driver exactly where he needs to be, what he needs to be doing. I saw a video, actually, of yourself, Elaine, on YouTube, and it was in the car with you. And I mean, it was like, I understood about 8 words in the 5 or 6 minutes that you were driving around there. Like, there's a lot of technical terms. It's not just kind of like, you know, oh, there's a big left coming up, U-turn in, you know, 200 metres or something. It's a lot of very specific little details.
Yeah, it's I suppose the degree of the corner, I suppose, you know, and I suppose a 90 degree would be a square left or square right, and then your 100, 200, I suppose, they're the distances and kind of different, I suppose, abbreviations, I suppose, of, we'd say, corners, crests and things like that we call, you know, because you couldn't get that all out, I suppose, if you were saying the whole word, I suppose, so to the driver.
So, Sarah, obviously it's a lot more than just sitting into the car and barking out these instructions. What's the process like from the start of a rally weekend for you? What's your preparation?
I suppose the weekend of your rally, it starts with getting the car ready, and then you go for your recce, which is done on the Saturday, which is you drive your stages the day before, up to 3 times in the day, in your road car at a regular speed. And you write your pace notes, or you adjust your pace notes if you buy them. And then you bring your car through scrutiny to make sure that it's okay, that it follows all the regulations that are set down. And then your Sunday then is spent rallying, I suppose.
And you're navigating and co-driving for your dad, is that right?
Yeah.
So was he a bit maybe apprehensive initially about letting you do it for him, or would he have kind of known you down the years as someone who was absolutely obsessed with this, and you know this was your dream?
I don't think he was. I think it was like that. It was always my dream, so I suppose he was always going to want to help me. And then I suppose the first day it was kind of to see could I do it, and then we realised, you know, I'm actually not that bad at it. And then we set out and we did a good year at it this year, and we had some good championship finishes, and I suppose it went from there.
Was there a lot of trial and error at the start of it, figuring out what way the preparation best worked for you?
There was some small bits at the start, just niggly bits to get sorted out, but I suppose it's all set out now. I've done 14 events now, so I'm there with everything that that needs to be there for me to be able to do it to the best I can.
And what did you have to do then to actually get your licence to be allowed to do this? Because I was reading you did have to, you know, there had to be a lot of checks with the Motorsport Association and the Irish Council for the Blind and things like that to make sure that it was 100% safe for you to be doing it?
Yeah, so differently basically what I had to do, whereas what Elaine would have to do, was I had to do a medical just to make sure that it was safe for me to be in a car and that I was safe to get in and out of a car safely. God forbid, touch wood, that we had an accident, that I would be able to get in and out of the car, and that passed it with flying colours, so they couldn't find any reason not to give me the licence.
And Kenny, I imagine your role, it's a lot more on the track as opposed to out on the open roads?
Yeah, so everything is for us is circuit confined, although we would have 3 races. So Monaco would be one of our sort of highlight races. Baku in Azerbaijan and Sochi in Russia are the 3 street circuits that we would race on. But generally it's just going around. It's not anything like these guys do. It's really, really straightforward and easy.
Do you have any experience in the kind of rallying side of things?
No, I mean, I used to watch RPM Motorsport when I was a nipper, and I loved it. You know, I really, really loved it. And then for me, as my career sort of developed and I moved away into England, you kind of dropped that a little bit. But yeah, if it was on TV, I'd watch it, and I've got a lot of respect for rally drivers and co-drivers, because it's the ultimate in actually cooperation and teamwork. You're doing it, you're living it. We send the cars out on a race, and
it's someone else's job after that.
Yeah, and we have a pit stop on a Saturday race, but after that, which hopefully lasts about 4.5 seconds if you get it right, and after that the car comes back in, and that's it, done. You know, whereas these guys are you know, the conditions are constantly changing. You know, and the level of trust is huge. You know, for a driver to sit next to a person who's reading the notes. If there's any doubt, I think you're just slow. You know, that would be my way. So that the trust has to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that is something I was thinking of even before this. Like, I don't know, from your experiences, have you kind of generally been with the same driver a lot? Do you kind of change around much at all?
Well, I suppose I was with the same driver when I won the Irish Tarmac Championship in 2017, and I suppose I took a kind of backseat then, I suppose, and I just kind of went to see what spins would come up, and that's when I suppose the WRC car, you know, Strive came up with Gary Cooney, and the R5 spin came with Sean Devine this year. And you know, I suppose I've been in with different drivers, but they'd be well capable drivers, so I suppose they'd have the trust in me. I suppose over the years would have seen my results, and it's kind of, you know, word of mouth as well. You know, would you be able, or, you know, of course I wouldn't sit into a car at that pace that we'd be going, because it's too dangerous anyway. So, you know, you'd have to have the trust and the confidence as well, because your notes have to be confident, you know, at the speeds we're going at.
Yeah, and like, obviously I imagine there has to be an element of, there has to be a decent chemistry between you and the driver as well, that you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can pick it up early on, and you know, when you meet someone, when you're having conversations, that you know you're kind of on the same page.
There's no clash of personality or anything like.
Because I imagine when that happens, that's when trouble starts.
Oh, you can have a great crack in the car with somebody as well. You know, when everything clicks and goes well, sure, you know, going through the stages, then you know they have the confidence in you, and you have the confidence in them, and you know things click, and you know things go well then.
Yeah, and I imagine that's certainly the case for you and your dad, Sarah, like that. He obviously knows you well, you obviously know him well, you know how he likes to drive, he knows how you'd like to be treated in the car as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I suppose we kind of got to skip, I'm going to say, the trust part, but we kind of went straight to it. He had no choice but to listen to me.
It's assumed it's there.
I just lost that one out.
We were kind of lucky that way, whereas I suppose other drivers mightn't have it, but we had it straight away, so that probably helped when I was starting off first, that I had the trust there, that if I knew, God forbid, I did something wrong, which thankfully I didn't, but if I did, that there was only Dad beside me and that he'd be able to help.
Because there is a huge responsibility on you, that if you know, if you read something a little bit wrong, or you give an instruction maybe at the wrong time or something like that, that you know, it's a very dangerous sport. An accident, it's not necessarily just going to cost you a couple of positions on the leaderboard.
Thankfully, I've never done that.
Yeah,
so.
it could lead to something much more worse.
Yeah, no, because like, you know, you can't afford to make mistakes at, I suppose, the level that we're at, you know, at the moment, you know, because it's the speed is too high, you know, and it's only going to, you know, I suppose, you know, you just wouldn't do that anyway at the level that we're at, I suppose. Yeah.
What's the motorsport and I suppose rallying community like in Ireland? Is it something that's growing? I would have always, I suppose, as a complete outsider to it, I would have assumed it's something that it is very popular in pockets around the country. And where it is popular, it's absolutely huge.
Yes, it is like I suppose one place sticks out, I suppose Donegal. I suppose it's huge in Donegal, and I suppose it's one of the best rallies to do. I suppose the Donegal International Rally in June every year. It's like a pilgrimage. I suppose we all go up there, but you know, it's fantastic to do a couple of days up there. And I suppose the rally community, it's fantastic, and you know, they're like a big family. You know, fantastic people that you meet, you know, and regularly you meet the same people every weekend, and you get to know, you know, there's probably not a town in the country that you know, you can go in that you'll know, oh, this fella's from here, or you know, this fella's over there, you know.
And everyone knows everyone.
Everybody knows everyone.
In the community in Ireland as well. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
And I suppose for you then, that must have been quite helpful. That I imagine you were saying it's such a family thing for you. I'm sure everyone kind of knew who you were and knew what family you were from and stuff like that, that when you were kind of coming into it, were you kind of welcomed quickly?
Yeah, that was it. I've known all these people since, like I said, my first rally was at 6 weeks old, so I've always known everyone around it, and then now I'm kind of in the family more that I'm competing myself, and you meet these people every weekend you're out, and it's all the same people, and it's all just one big family, like. And
do you think it's growing as a sport in Ireland a bit more?
Oh, it is, it's very popular, you know, it's, you know, very popular, you know, and like the crowds that would be out watching and spectating, it's huge, huge. I mean, it was the biggest crowd I saw on Donegal. We were in the bottom of Knockalla there, and I just looked up and I thought it was rocks above there, and I was like, oh my God, that's thousands of people, like, you know, I thought it was small rocks above, like, but yeah, it was huge, and Sarah was there, you were on the start line there, it's like as well, like, so.
But I do notice as well, like, the people at the rallies, like, even the spectators are absolutely fearless, but the places they're standing, like, are you kind of, sometimes you're driving around going, I really wish now there was not someone kind of standing up at that little corner there watching down us.
Well, that's, you know, I suppose Motorsport Ireland now have cracked down on that now. You're not allowed to stand really in a dangerous place anymore. And I suppose we're always given instructions at driver's briefing. If we see, you know, somebody standing, or, you know, you know, if you had a feeling, you know, they shouldn't be standing there, we would actually get to the next radio point at the end of the stage, and we'd tell them what location or where those people were, and they'd be moved straight away. So so it's fairly safe now, isn't it? Oh yeah, there's high levels of safety nowadays.
Very well trained marshals, and
that's ongoing, regular basis. Yeah.
Kenny, on the dangers of motorsports, I was reading up obviously on Arden, and you would have had a real tragedy just a few months ago. Antoine Hubert died in Belgium in Spa.
That's right.
I mean, what is that like, losing a member of a team like that?
Yeah, it's. I think, I suppose, in many ways, you kind of freeze a little bit, but you have to be the centre point of contact for the family, for the team, for the sponsors, and it's something that you never want to go through. It's something that it's in the back of your mind a little bit, to be honest, and I think we've all become a little bit used to strapping the driver in, sending him out, and as I said earlier on, you know, the car comes back after an hour. But you know, at that particular race, 2 laps into the race, you know, the car never came back. And
can you tell us actually a little bit about Antoine and I suppose what happened?
So Antoine was an up-and-coming French driver. He had a fairly sort of average time of it in Formula Renault Euro Cup, which is like the lower entry of single-seaters. And then he moved to a French team called ART and won the GP3 championship, which is now called Formula 3. So he then received support from the Renault Formula 1 team, and he was a Renault Academy driver. He did, he joined us at the beginning of the year, and it was a struggle. You know, we're not the leading team. We're working on it really hard. So, you know, the start wasn't particularly great. Testing was a bit disappointing. But we won 2 races, and one of them was at Monaco, which is just the best race to win.
Yeah.
Followed quickly by Le Castellet, which is the Circuit Paul Ricard, the French Grand Prix. He's a French driver, and he got on the top step. And he was a lovely kid, really, really determined, pushed like crazy, pushed myself, the management, the mechanics, everybody just pushed he was going places, and he tested the Formula 1 car. He was destined for great things. But 2 laps into the feature race, which is our Saturday race, unfortunately on the top of Eau Rouge, there was a collision that triggered a few events, and unfortunately Antoine was hit at high speed and succumbed to his injuries on the way to the hospital. And at that point, everything just sort of stops. And you really have to it's a big reality check, you know. And you want to cut yourself into 3 different pieces. Part of you goes to the family, part of you goes to the team, part of you goes and deals with the FIA, who are handling all of the arrangements. And even to this day, it's still hard. You know, I was with the driver who actually hit him. He's in hospital in London, J.M. Carrera, and I spent a couple of hours with him. You know, he's still recovering from his injuries. He has serious lower leg injuries. He went into a coma. You know, he had a really rough time of it. He's in London now, and I think he's actually making a good recovery. But for him, it's an 8, 9, 10 month recovery process just to see if he can still walk. You know, so yeah, it's serious, and it just highlights the fact that what the drivers and co-drivers, when they get into a car, that it's not always guaranteed that they'll come out after a stage or after a race. So.
And would this have been the first time in your career you would have kind of come across that level of an accident?
I mean, for me, I suppose, Neil Shanahan was a driver, and I think you've just covered him recently in the special.
Yeah, Raf, who's literally just outside there watching in, he put that documentary together.
And actually, I've sent that documentary to the family, to Antoine's brother Victor, because I felt that it was something that this is like 20 years on, and I said, this is something that's happened 20 years ago, and what you're going through now is going to take, it's for the rest of your life. But listen to this, because this is a story, and it may help. It may not, but it may help. So, you know, what you guys are doing here actually has helped in that grieving process for the family. There's that. There's Justin Wilson, who died in America. There's a couple of drivers that I've known, but never personally, never in your own car. And I've been part of the investigation. I've flown to Geneva. I've looked at the car, what's left of it. You know, I've visited the drivers who have been involved, just to get a clear picture, you know, as to what actually happens. Because it's part of, you need to know. You need to know. It's important for your head to know what's happened, so you can then tick all the boxes and move, not move on, but just move with it. You know, difficult.
Is it something you ever would have experienced, someone close to you or something involved in the sport, or thankfully kind of have, up until this point, have you kind of avoided seeing these really serious accidents with people you know?
Well, there was a serious accident there in Donegal this year, but I suppose not going into too much, I suppose we all would have known him, I suppose, yeah. But, you know, I suppose these things, you know, happen in any sport. You know, it's not just, I suppose, motorsport. I'm putting it, you can't be thinking about that. You'll be crossing the road tomorrow morning and sure, you know, a car could come along, like, you know, but putting it on a positive side, we get in there, I suppose, for the enjoyment and the thrill of the sport. You know, on that side, you know, of it.
If you were getting into a car worried about this sort of thing happening?
I wouldn't.
But as in, if you were to be, is that where the trouble could start, where you might kind of be overthinking everything?
Yeah, exactly. You can't be thinking like that, like, you know.
An awareness of it, you know, a general awareness of it.
Or look, we wouldn't be sitting into it, you know, and doing things, you know, navigating, I suppose. If you couldn't be sitting and thinking of that, I suppose. You just have to sit in. You have, I suppose, the safety aspect now of the cars these days. You have your safety gear. It's huge now. You know, your fire extinguishers, you know, you've the rundown of the whole lot. and you know you have to think that you're safe. You know you're safe inside in the car as long as you have your pace notes done, your recce done, and you get on with your driver as well. Like, would you agree there?
Yeah, completely. You're in the sport because you enjoy the sport.
Yeah, we wouldn't be sitting into, I suppose, thinking of that because you couldn't.
The point there really is that with Antoine, he died doing something he loved. And as you say, you could be crossing the road buying a loaf of bread and you could get run down by a taxi or a bus or whatever. And I would rather that he went out that way, where he was at the top of his, he was on the rise. And, Christian from Red Bull came down to the garage and, he took the team around him and just said, the guy he died what he loved doing. And, you look at other people like, Michael Schumacher, who's had a really long career, successful career, and just goes off piste on a skiing accident and has a head injury, and so I think ultimately it's not commonplace these days. It was back in the sort of 60s, 70s.
No, it's not common anymore.
But the level of safety is huge, and even when I'm looking at the car, when I'm looking at the equipment, it's just a freak. It's just a freak of nature that's what happened at that point, and it was triggered by 6 or 7 other things, that brought that end result, and so 9 times out of 10, you're fine.
Even more than 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. True.
9 times out of 10 wouldn't actually be particularly good.
No, it wouldn't actually. No.
All right, we'll take a little break here now. Actually, this Saturday panel brought to you in association with the Motorsport Show, which is taking place in the RDS on the 23rd and 24th of November. Tickets available from themotorshow.com. I'm here with Elaine Nihey, Sarah McFadden, and Kenny Kirwan as well. We'll be back in a minute.
The Saturday panel on Off the Ball.
Take comfort in a brilliant choice.
At Citroën, our cars are designed to suit every lifestyle, like the Citroën C3. It's as unique as you are.
Take comfort in great offers.
With representative 0% APR finance across the range.
Take comfort in whichever one you choose at your nearest Citroën dealer, or find out more at citroen.ie.
Finance made by way of a hire purchase agreement. Finance eligibility criteria, T's and C's apply.
Eamon, thanks for coming in. Look, this is never easy, but we're letting you go. There were reports you left the bathroom light on, your desk light on over lunch, and you stayed late every day last week. That's way too much electricity.
With a full lighting upgrade from Energia Lighting Solutions, you can reduce your business's lighting costs by up to 80%, which means you don't have to go overboard to see your energy bills fall. Go to energia.ie/business to find out more. Energia, the power behind your savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Experience sound redefined at Harvey Norman. Save €80 on the Sony M3 wireless noise-cancelling headphones. Perfect for travelling about, working out or chilling out. Now just €319. Or get the party started this holiday season with the Panasonic 300-watt floor system. Now just €199, saving €50. Shop our huge range of headphones and speakers online and in-store now. And don't forget, at Harvey Norman, we're matching all competitors' prices, so why shop anywhere else?
No! We've got great offers this week at your local SuperValue, like SuperValue Fresh Irish Strip Loin Steak, half price. SuperValue 7 offers like a 1 kg carrot bag, now 49 cent. Cadbury Heroes, Roses, Celebrations or Quality Street Tubs, 2 for €10. And Santa Rita 120 range, €8 each. It's got to be SuperValue. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Imagine Bus Connects, an efficient, reliable bus network for Dublin, taking more people to more places more often. Better for the future needs of our growing city. That's why, based on hearing from 50,000 people, we've revised our bus network proposals to bring better bus services for Dublin. You spoke, we listened. Now we want to hear from you again. So we've opened a second round of public consultation. For details on the proposed bus services, how to give feedback, and to check out our new route mapper, visit busconnects.ie. Bus Connects is an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
This November.
You think you do it for the money, it's the game, the adrenaline rush. What if it is?
Prepare to read between the lines.
How much do you think she's worth? I'm going to take it all.
In what critics are calling intelligent and brilliant. A gripping and deliciously deceptive must-see movie.
It's very peculiar. Secrets between you, God, the devil, and the dead.
Starring Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen, The Good Liar. In cinemas now. Certificate 15A.
The Hamper Sweets and Treats scratch card from the National Lottery is back. It's packed with lots of great prizes with over €2 million in cash prizes to be won. There's €25,000 to be won instantly, over 100,000 boxes of Butler's chocolates, hundreds of shopping vouchers and hampers worth €500 each. Plus sent to the bonus draw with 5 prizes of €1,000, which must be won each week. Surprise yourself and pick up a Hamper Sweets and Treats scratch card in store today. Play responsibly, play for fun.
Swap dark nights for twinkling lights this winter with great value flights from Aer Lingus. Hop across to the UK and enjoy a weekend break in London or Birmingham from only $25.99 one way, including taxes and charges. Or enjoy other great European deals and stroll around a festive Milan or Madrid, or feel the glow at the Christmas markets of Berlin. Smart bags a winter getaway. Smart flies Aer Lingus. Book now at aerlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
What to eat, who to love, where to go. We get so many answers online. But the answers to some questions can only be found on the open road. For instance, just how good is it to drive an award-winning SUV like the Peugeot 2008, 3008 or 5008? Find out during the Peugeot Drive Time event now on at your nearest Peugeot dealer. Ask about flexible payment options and our 5-year warranty. Never have SUVs gone so far. See Peugeot.ie for terms and conditions. Across Ireland. This is the IMRO Radio Awards Station of the Year. This is News Talk.
Good afternoon, I'm Owen Murphy. A Border TD claims even greater police resources are needed to tackle the crisis at Quinn Industrial Holdings. Yesterday, the PSNI and the Gardaí announced a joint investigation and a number of searches took place in the UK and Ireland, but no arrests have been made for the vicious attack on Kevin Lunny in September or for the death threats against other QIH directors. Brendan Smith, a Fianna Fáil TD for Cavan Monaghan, says a special police task force is needed for the border region.
I welcome what was announced yesterday, but we believe that in the immediate term and in the long term, the establishment of a dedicated cross-border crime prevention agency would bring success and reduce dramatically these crimes, be it illicit trade in smuggling, be it human trafficking, or the type of criminality that we've witnessed, unfortunately, over the past number of weeks.
The closure of 2 ESB power stations in the Midlands is as bad for rural Ireland as Google pulling out of Dublin. That's according to former Environment Minister Denis Naughton after the ESB announced it's shutting the Shannon Bridge and Lanesborough power plants next year. It says they're no longer viable because planners rejected a proposal for them to switch from peat to biomass. Denis Naughton says it's a disaster for the 80 staff.
The decision made by the ESB yesterday is equivalent to Google announcing that it was pulling lock, stock and barrel out of the city of Dublin. That's the scale of the impact we're talking about here. We're talking about directly and indirectly 4,000 jobs going in our local economy that are all dependent either one way or the other on these peat-fired power stations.
A public event is taking place tonight to say asylum seekers are welcome in County Leitrim. The Department of Justice has paused plans to house 130 people in a direct provision centre in Ballinamore after local opposition. But another group has been established to welcome asylum seekers to the town, and they're holding a meeting in Ballinamore tonight. Sajjad Hussain has been involved in welcoming asylum seekers to Ballahadreen in County Roscommon, and he's one of the speakers. He supports the department's plans for Ballinamore. That's it for now. More in an hour.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to the AA, you can find our lowest car insurance price online, guaranteed.
Rain will clear most areas early this morning, but it may linger along parts of the east coast. Highest temperatures of 7 to 10 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
All right, you're welcome back. I am here alongside two rallying co-drivers, Elaine and Sarah McFadden, as well as Kenny Kirwan, team manager of Arden Motorsport for our Motorsport Show Saturday panel here on Off the Ball in association with the Motorsport Show, which take place at the RDS on the 23rd and 24th of November. You can get your tickets for that now at themotorsportshow.com. I suppose, guys, where I might actually start here is, I suppose, talk about the things that got you into rallying and what you love about it. Sarah, I imagine in your family anyway, your dad was probably a hero for you growing up in terms of rallying. Outside of that, were there any other inspirations for you?
Yeah, I've had a lot of inspirations growing up. I always grew up around motorsports, so I had inspirations like Niall Maguire and all these people, like Rosemary Smith. You always look up to these people and you always want to follow in these people's footsteps because they've done things that you can only wish to do.
Mm-hmm. And are you kind of, is it rallying specifically that you would have had interest in, or are you interested in other motorsports?
Rallying was always motorsport, but I was always into sport, GAA and camogie, and I played and captained Mayo in camogie for a while as well, so I was always into sport growing up.
So you're fairly well travelled in terms of sport then as well. As you kind of hinted as well, Elaine, you've a solid sporting background as well?
GAA played Gaelic football, for many years, myself, the family would be big into it now. Gaelic, I suppose, behind her. Are big into the football,
Exactly, yeah. And who would have been the people you were looking up to when you were getting involved in rallying?
I suppose the rallies, I suppose the Circuit of Ireland, and all that back then. I suppose your Andrew Nesbitt and your Alistair Fisher and Colin McRae and all them. I suppose the heroes back then. I suppose Michelle Mouton. I suppose the females and Rosemary Smith here in Ireland. And I suppose looking at that, then I suppose. Local people as well, from Kerry and stuff.
As a career in motorsport and rallying, is it there for someone in Ireland, or is it more of a labour of love? Are you going to be earning a living out of it?
No, I do it for the sport, for the enjoyment and the satisfaction.
Is that the same as a lot of people in Ireland will be doing?
Yeah, it is, it's for the enjoyment, it's for, but you strive to succeed as well, I suppose, you want to, I suppose, do be more competitive and I suppose, better yourself, and that's a motivator in itself.
And I imagine it's something that a family will, I would guess, you're putting a lot of money into it. You're constantly improving the cars, you're fixing cars non-stop and things like that as well.
Cars have come a long way in the past couple of years, I suppose the latest now, the R5s, and the WRC cars are big, huge cars.
And what cars would you be in?
I would be in WRC cars and R5s, one of the most more powerful, I suppose, a beast of a car, I suppose,
When you move up the levels in terms of cars as well, do you kind of sit in on a first drive and go, oh, this thing can move?
Yeah, well, I've sat into them all, I've sat into WRC, R5, your 2 litre, 2.5 Escort, 1600s, I suppose twin cams, down to your Civics, I've done them all, I suppose,
And what car would you be in, Sarah?
At the minute, we're in a 2 litre Civic. I'm not quite there with Elaine.
She'll get there, yes,
Hopefully
I'm a bit older.
What's the dream for you? Do you want to move on and go even further on this?
It's like any other co-driver. You want to be the best you can be and the most competitive and getting the best results you can. I have no set plans of what I want to do. I just want to keep getting better and better every day.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of achievements then in rallying, what is the kind of the standout thing for you?
I suppose winning the Irish Tarmac Championship in 2017. I suppose, being coming first overall in the ITRC2, I suppose, Group N and mixed crew that year. And the same year then, my home rally, I suppose, Rally of the Lakes, we finished 10th overall, and it was the first female on the Marswood and Hookup. So, so that was the best, I suppose, achievement.
More of a personal one, I imagine, as well.
I suppose, because I suppose our own Paul Nagel is the first rally co-driver on it, I suppose, and I'm the first female, I suppose, on it. And plus, I suppose, I sat in with Sean Devine this year. The circuit of the Easter stages up the north, and we finished 3rd overall, and we were having our problems all weekend with paddle shift, so what could have been, I suppose, But.
And Sarah, what would you kind of rate as the best moment you've had, I suppose, in?
I've had a very good year in and out of the car over the last year. We got 4 podium finishes in class out of the 4 championships that we entered into this year. And I've had a lot of awards outside of the car as well. I picked up 2 Mayo Young People of the Year awards, Garda Special Achievement awards and that kind of thing. It's been a really, really special year.
Do you feel like you're kind of, I don't want to blow smoke up you now and say, you're a trailblazer and you're kind of, you're setting a target for other young girls and stuff to get into motorsport?
That's really what I'm trying to do. And for girls getting into motorsport as well, I was only 17 when I started, so it was quite young. But I suppose for people with disabilities as well, to show them that they can do, rallying was always my dream. It's not going to be everyone's dream, but it shows them that if they want to do soccer or Gaelic or anything, that there's nothing stopping them. That they can. There's a million ways around and into everything. That if they have a dream, that they should follow it. that's kind of what I've been trying to prove for the last year or so.
And have you had people come back to you that have said, like, you know, I've tried something. It doesn't even have to be motorsport, whether it's going out playing for a football team or a camogie team or something like that, that they've kind of seen your story and decided that they want to do something off the back of that?
Yeah, I have. We've had an awful lot of people telling us that kind of thing, and that's why I go out and do it. I love rallying, but I go out to try and help other people as well, and that's really why I go every day, and I go out and I try and I spread my story, and I go out and I try and tell people that nothing can stop them if they want to do something in life.
And what's that feeling like when someone is telling you about their own story?
Oh, it's very special. Like, it's better than any result you can get. Like, finding out that someone is going out and doing what they want to do. I had a great upbringing. My parents always kind of told me that I could do anything I ever wanted, but some people mightn't be that lucky, and if I can go out and show people that they can do it, it's just an amazing feeling.
And like, in your own with your own condition, when you're talking like partially sighted, partially blind, what level are we talking about?
It should be quite bad. So the way mine is worse in sunlight. So when I'm in sunlight, basically all I'll see is white. I'll see white and shadows. Whereas that's why it can be quite hard in the car, because of the change in light. So it can be quite hard to read sometimes. Whereas if I'm inside, I'm a little better, but not much.
So with a lot of your notes, I imagine you're memorising quite a lot as opposed to, you know, having it written down.
No, unfortunately, the way rallying is, there's so many.
There's so much you can't
really start memorising it. So I suppose I have just little ways of working around it.
Unless the stage passes the house, of course, like, or something like that, like down the road.
Not lucky yet. No.
For females getting involved in motorsport, Elaine, are we seeing more and more picking it up?
There is, yeah. There's a good lot of females now involved in it, yeah. And there'd be a lot in the background as well, you know, I suppose in the offices and the marshalling, and, you know, there's a lot of females involved as well, yeah.
Are you seeing that on your end as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our other driver is Tatiana Calderon, who's a Colombian. She's 25, and she's been a bit of a trailblazer, really, for female drivers in Europe. But I spend a bit of time in the Formula 1 paddock, and you see women on the pit perch, which is where all the management sits. They're involved in strategy, engineering, design. You know, it's not just the hospitality sector. You know, they really are making, you know, which is a great thing, making their mark, and it's important. You know, if you're in an all-male environment, you know, you just need that common sense approach and a different viewpoint that women do bring, and it's going to get. I
like the way you said that.
Tell you, I'm crazy. But yeah, that's where it's at now, you know, and it's huge. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, maybe less so. You know, and now it's you know, you're sending an email to somebody or you're in a group, and you'll always spot 3 or 4 female names in there, and it's great. It's good to see, you know.
And are you seeing a lot more kind of on the rallying side in terms of driving and co-driving, just this general involvement?
Oh, there is, yeah.
In a rally I competed in 2 or 3 of them this summer. There was up on 30 females.
Yeah, there was, yeah. They got a group photo of us there in Sligo there this year, yeah.
It's up on 30 of us.
Yeah, there was about 30 of us. Yeah, like, you know, from, you know, the top all the way down to car number.
Yeah. What advice would you have for young girls who might have a kind of a rough interest in it and are looking to get a bit more involved and interested, who maybe aren't kind of, it's not in the family, it's not something that they've kind of grown up with? Would you have any advice for them to kind of to go about how to get involved a bit more?
Yeah, I'd say join your local motorsport club. I suppose, you know, whatever county you're in, there's always 1 or 2. And, you know, go to the meetings, get to know the people. They will send you then in the right direction. You know, if you want to apply for your licence, then you apply, you know, fill out the forms for Motorsport Ireland, you know, navigator or driver's licence. And, yeah, I suppose you get to know, once you join a club, you know, you'll be part of the club then, and you go to the meetings, and yeah, they're fun, yeah.
Is it an intimidating environment, kind of getting involved in it?
Not at all.
Isn't
No.
Everyone's so friendly. We're all, like we said it before, we're all one family. Like, we all have the same interests. Like, so.
Yeah, and I imagine at all the rallies every weekend and stuff, you're meeting the same people. It's, you know, it's the same groups you're kind of mingling with every weekend.
Yeah, like you could go off, you know, on a Friday evening and you'll be doing recce all day Saturday, and then you rally all day Sunday and home, then and back to work then Monday, you know. So
on your own ambitions, Elaine, would you ever see yourself being behind the wheel?
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah,
you never know.
Have you tried it before?
No, I haven't. Yeah, but you never know. I suppose I wanted to, achieve, my best results, in the navigator seat, and then I suppose maybe progress on. But I'm happy out where I am at the moment.
What are navigators and rally co-drivers like in the passenger seat of a normal car? On your average, Sunday spin around the country, are you awful backseat drivers? Are you constantly telling people where to go and what to do?
No, very patient. Just, we'll be told.
Might not turn up there now.
Depends who you get in with, of course. You'll be told to shut up fairly fast. That's it.
I suppose on that, guys, thanks a million for joining us. If you do want to get involved, I presume all of you are going to be at the Motorsport Show later on this month. What can people expect from it?
There's a lot of things, like there'll be loads of displays of cars. I suppose the Mini, Paddy Hopkirk's the Mini selection. What else is there? The live runway.
We've got the live runway there. We've got the Formula E car, the DS Automobile Techita. Motorsport legend Martin Donnelly is going to join us, which is he's like royalty, that lad. I mean, he's really, really good, and he's be an inspiration for me in coming into the industry. Him and Eddie Jordan, for example. And then we've got Paul Swift there, who's going to be doing some demonstrations, and I think even you guys are going to be there off the board. So
and Sarah's bringing the car. Nicole is coming in. I don't know if the Subaru 12B that I'm in as well could be coming as well. So.
And a lot, I imagine, to welcome in the people who probably are novices when it comes to motorsport and would have a fairly passive interest in it, just to come along and even and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to get in and around the cars and have a look at what they're actually about, because you'll never see them up as close as you will when they're parked.
Exactly,
It's something I did as a kid.
Clean as well.
I came into the RDS in the early mid-90s, and that was my first big introduction to it, and I was fascinated, and that really helped. So if it helps one or two kids, or even just grows the fan base into rallying or racing, that's a big plus.
So. And when you would have come from, as a kid going to that, and when all of a sudden you find yourself at the Monte Carlo Grand Prix and all the most famous circuits around the world, in your earlier days then, were you pinching yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being at school, secondary school in Selbridge in Kildare, and sort of watching the Monaco Grand Prix '96, and I'm watching Olivier Panis, who still is the last French driver to ever win a Grand Prix, and I think there was only 4 cars in the race at the end of all the accidents and breakdowns. And then I fast forward to 15, 20 years, and I'm sat opposite him signing, a deal to have his son race with us. So you end up taking a step back and sort of, how have I ever ended up? How have I ever, my dad taking me to Mondello Park and me going, that's what I want to do, Dad, and I don't want to do football or rugby or GAA. That's what I want to do. It just, it's a bit silly.
You're almost kind of sitting there waiting to go, God, when they find out I'm a complete chance and I'm in trouble here.
It's hard. It's really hard, because there's times you think, I shouldn't be here. Don't be, this was never meant to happen, and it's nice, but anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So just follow your dream, work hard at it, and you'll get there.
And I assume, Sarah, that's the message you have for everyone else as well?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Go out and follow your dreams. And I always have a bit of a motto, and there's nothing worse than being blind than having no vision. There's nothing worse than being blind but having no vision.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to summarise it, I think, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. All your dreams,
Exactly.
You only live once, so you might as well go out and do what makes you happy.
Elaine, Sarah McFadden and Kenny Kirwan, thanks a million for joining us on this Saturday's panel, which is brought to you in association with the Motorsport Show, 23rd and 24th of November at the RDS in Dublin. You can get your tickets now at themotorsportshow.com. We'll be back after the break.
Off the ball on News Talk. Tech Talk with Jess Kelly.
Web Summit is over for another year, but this week on Tech Talk, I'll take you inside the 2019 event.